When people look at me, they go, "You just own a gym." No, I own businesses. I'm a family man. I'm married. I've got kids. This is part of this journey.
The best thing that I was able to find that helped narrow down my focus and just get so much more production out of me was just systems, processes, schedules, routines. Alright guys, welcome to another episode of The Lat Chat, and today we have the pleasure of bringing on Mets Analin. Mets runs a podcast on fitness and health. He's also got a gym out in Coogee, which is a massive facility, 4,000 members, and he's kicking goals in the fitness space. And speaking of fitness, he's been in it for 27 years, so he knows a thing or two. He's got a supplement brand. He's doing a bunch of cool stuff that we've just talked about off podcast, so I'd love to introduce him to him. Matt, how are you, mate? How's your day?
Yeah, good.
Good. Thanks for
When I
coming
got a
on.
message from Nathan, it was funny because I was overseas, and I go, Saturday, it's the last podcast. I go, may as well do it.
100%. Well,
Yeah.
mate.
But it was great just talking to you before, getting to know about you, your business. But
100%.
I think, it's great what you're doing, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. Likewise, mate. You've got a few moving pieces. So
Yeah.
let's kick off, man. How did you get into the fitness industry? You've been in it for 27 years. Take me back to the beginning.
The beginning, like my brother was 10 years older than me, and he was a bodybuilder. And from the age he would have been 17, he had a gym set in our bedroom, small 2-bedroom unit, 3 brothers in 1 bedroom, and he's got a gym set in there, massive gym set. Took up most of the room, and I used to watch him train every single day. And my brother grew like a weed. His genetics are unbelievable, and ever since I was a kid, I just loved fitness, and I watched him compete. I was a fan of the sport, and our goal was always to be in the fitness industry. And if it wasn't for him and the things that he'd done early on, I don't think I'd be where I am right now.
That's very cool, man. And so you do the fitness thing. You look up to your brother, and you get into the space. Talk to me about the first gym, because I think you mentioned off air you had a couple of gyms.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the first one. What made you start the gym? How's it going at the moment with your current gym?
Yeah, the first one was in Rockdale, and back in 1998, there was just me and my brother running it, and so you're on either side of the shift. You're either doing open or close. Initially, it was pretty much you'd work 7 days and 5 days and have the second weekend off. So it was like 13 days straight and have the second weekend off. So, it was kind of a great apprenticeship. It was brutal because you had to do everything from the ground up. I had to do classes, I had to train people, I had to clean, I had to do absolutely everything. Back then, it was fitness first, anytime and all that kind of stuff. So you could imagine you had to travel through a few suburbs to get to a gym. But it still wasn't that easy. I didn't understand marketing that well. I didn't understand, sales. I just understood service. So it wasn't easy. It was really hard because imagine, you're thrust into your first gym. And we bought it off the owner of the gym that we used to go to. And so we knew the gym well. We said, let's make an offer. Let's see if this will work out. And it worked out. We probably paid overs, to be honest. But we had a vision and a dream. And I think if we didn't, no one in their right mind would stick to a business that they were struggling for so many years, where your parents and your wife, his wife, had to support us just to keep it open. And there was a story where we got to a point, we actually bought the building, and we thought maybe that's the best fail-safe way to do this. And it wasn't. So we decided, what, we're really struggling to make ends meet to pay the bank. So we decided to sell it. When we signed it, it was an 18-month settlement, and we were so regretful. Rang the solicitor and I said, Joe, how do we get out of this? He goes, you can't. He goes, the only way you can get out of it is if they don't sign on the 18th month. So me and my brother looked at ourselves and we said, look, why don't we just put in an effort, and whatever happens, happens. Anyway, on the 18th month, they didn't sign and we didn't sell.
No way.
Otherwise, we're not even here.
That's crazy.
So, you know, it's amazing how much you got to go through to get to where you want to get to. And you know, with me, obviously, one of the things I work really hard on is developing myself. And that's what I had to do throughout my whole life to get to where I am. And if it wasn't for the first gym and going through all of that chaos, through all that hardship, I think I wouldn't be the person I am today.
100%. And then, so I think you mentioned, so you're in that Rockdale gym, you end up keeping it. And then how did you go from there to Coogee? And then you mentioned earlier you had a few gyms, but then you sort of narrowed it down. Talk to me about that journey.
That was unbelievable, man. Like, look, my brother pushes the levels of taking risk, and I do a lot of the work on the inside, right? But I can't thank him enough for that, because when you get pushed into a corner, you got to fight your way out. So I remember we had Rockdale and he wanted to get Kensington, which I didn't want to do at the time. You know, okay, fuck, running one's hard. And then when we had Kensington, we also got Coogee. So I didn't even have the experience to run all three. And mind you, like when we built Coogee, and my late dad helped out a lot, but you know, I was project managing that whole job, and I'm not a project manager. So we done. Look, I'm glad I done it. Like, it's amazing the things that you can do, even though you don't have the skill set. I did leverage off some great people to be able to do it, but the things that you learn in that process of like the willingness to just about learn anything that you probably don't know nothing about, and you never say I can't do that. Like, I don't like it when someone says I can't. I go, what do you mean you can't, man? I go, I can't tell you how many things that I've done that I had no idea of how I was going to do it. Sometimes I'll say to my team, I'm doing, you know, I'll give you an example. My videographer, he's been with me for 3 years, and I said, I'm going to build a podcast studio at the gym. He goes, I told him I was doing all these things. It was just after COVID. So I had lost the marketing team, lost so many teams. You can imagine the fitness industry. I lost 3 teams. And I was probably at my worst point, and he came in, I go, this is what I'm going to do. And he believed nothing of it. And he went to my bookkeeper at the time, Remo, and he goes, everyone says what Med says, but no one does it. So anyway, I done all those things. And I said, Kenny, I said it the other day, okay, forget about what I done. Okay, think about what I'm doing right now. Okay, if I told you that then, you probably would have thought I was on crack, right? I said, do you know, you were with me when I was in Melbourne when I was building this podcast studio. And you said, Mets, do you know what you're doing? I said, no, I got the right guys. I'm going to figure it out. I've got no idea what we're doing. And we were able to do an unbelievable studio. But I said to him, I don't have to know what I want, like how it's going to work out. I've got to think about what the end point looks like and turning the world upside down to finish it. Okay, that's one thing I'm good at. Yeah. So when you start to get results, people start to believe in you. And eventually, almost everyone believes in you. Like, everyone believes in you. They go, you know, if he puts his mind on it, he's going to get it done. So a lot of the times when I was doing those 3 gyms, it was a struggle mentally. And, you know, there was times where, you know, you question yourself whether you're the right person to do this job. There was a lot of soul searching. And what I love about my brother, even if I tell him this is what I'm going through, he gives me, like, he listens with no emotion and no answers almost. So you almost got to look within yourself to find that answer. But that stoicism that he has probably benefited me more. Do you know what I mean? 100%. Because he's the most disciplined human being that I know. Him saying almost nothing most of the time probably helped me more because I had to go and learn it. But he was always the soundboard. And it was probably one of the best things that I ever done. But the goal was always to have one gym, because I always believe that you can't offer like me everywhere. You can't. So I said, if I can create a culture and foster this community, I'm going to win in the end. But I love business, so I'm going to build verticals off that. So you don't have to have multiples of this one thing, but you can create a service if you have different verticals. And that's what I'm doing right now. I've got those verticals. I enjoy them. And to be honest, maybe if I had heaps of gyms, I probably wouldn't enjoy it as much. I'm probably enjoying these projects where, like, Elevate with Mets facilitates and is the training platform for everyone at Titan Fitness. Substance helps every member in the gym, which is our own supplement brand. So everything is kind of oneness in the sense of what I'm doing. So they're not verticals that are outside of, way outside the industry. They're within the industry. And I think if you do it that way, you have the ability to reach more people. But it was challenging, man. And I wouldn't take those challenges away, even though in those moments I go, why me? Now I say, like, why not me? Because if I'm in that fire and I've got my back against the wall, if I figure it out, I've just learned a new skill. And I just look at these things, these challenges, and I just got another skill set. And they're invaluable.
100%. I've got a couple of questions on this, but talk to me about, I'm going to slow it down because you say verticals and we know what you're talking about and I know what you're talking about, but no one else knows what you're talking about. So when you get a gym, you start it, you build a location up, you build the community, you build the culture, and you get members. But ultimately, a location is capped to a certain number of members, right? And then so as a gym owner, you face two options. Do I expand, as in do I get more locations? Or do I find things that supplement my current business and can feed into that? So the accounting example is, hey, we have an accounting business. Can we build a brokering business on the side of that? Can we build a financial planning, blah, blah, blah. And so that's building verticals within what you do. So on that, talk to me about a couple of the verticals that you've got and how they started and where they're at.
Yeah, like with substance, that was probably something that I had to conceptualize what each process looks like thereafter that, because when you're so busy in the gym and your numbers are growing there and you're bringing on new services, which we've brought on heaps in the last year. So, I'm bringing on all these new services and building this business at the same time. So then I have to understand in the sequence of events, if this is doing well, it's doing well now, but this is what the North Star looks like. I have to be able to balance and juggle all of that, because if this is growing and there's a much more of a demand on service on this, is this doing well enough where it's still serving people, but I can still hold it up by because it's making money? And, and I started my own online coaching. That morphed into now being a free service for every single member. On the back of that, that service allowed us to get more new members in, but also be able to lift our price because our service was now next level again. So whatever started here could also change. And then Elevate with Mets became the Elevate Experience podcast, but it also became the retreats that I do. Now, I never thought I was going to do retreats in my wildest dream. Like if you said to me you're going to do retreats, I not only host the retreats, I train with the people. You know what I mean? So I train with the people. I do absolutely everything. I'm very, very hands-on in that sense. And the first one I started to question myself in that vertical. Now, I said to myself, I'm not going to do it for a while. But now it's come back where with the business that we're building, a lot of business owners have come to me that they go, I want to do the retreat. So I go, okay, now I've got the supplements. Now I've done this. We can connect that to this business better. So a lot of the times you've got to actually start to see if you can actually do it, right? And then you got to go, what's the level of entry? And the level of entry was going to, the worst case scenario was going to break even. So it's going to just take my time. But what I've done, now I know how to do it with my eyes shut. But when I was doing the first one, I needed help. By the final one, when I done it, I made it work that efficiently, and I needed less people to help me because I took more control in that sense. And then it allowed me to get in front of people, business owners, and see what my skill set was, and you get feedback. And the feedback was great, and now I've got that skill, and that's on our website. So when people look into it and they go, this is not just the gym. This guy is actually empowering and changing people's lives. And he's not getting just, his trainers to do it. He's the owner leading the way. And I always wanted to look at myself as, if I'm asking you to do something, have I done that job? I'm not just going to go, like I done a class at 6 a.m. in the morning today, and I killed the boys. And one of my workers was going, are you doing today's class? I said, mate, you've been here for 3 months now. I go, I'm hands-on, And I think as a leader, if you don't put the work in, or you haven't walked in the shoes of what you're telling someone else to walk in, how long can it really last where you can, have a team that wants to work for you? And I think culture is important, and I think leading by example helps the culture within the gym.
You mentioned something earlier, and it's leading into what you're just saying there. Culture is important. There's a core strategy, I guess, you use to empower people. What is that? How do you get the best out of someone, and what does that look like building up the best people?
If I look at my life, I was terrible at school. When I was in year 11 and 12, I was actually good up till year 10, but my mum went overseas, and I thought, this is perfect. And she went both year 11 and 12, which I go, this is fantastic. Because I don't like school anyway. Yeah. But this, fell right into, my game plan. And so I didn't turn up to school much. Yeah. And I always kind of wanted to, do my own thing or own my own business, because I just wanted to be responsible for what I do. And when we look at, cultures and empowering people, when I look at the early days, even when I was in business, my mum goes, you think you can do it? You think you know everything? Not in a bad way, but you know what mums are like be careful, and all those things. And I believe that no one believed in me. That was just my mental state. And I used to go, okay, I've got to believe in myself. What I noticed was with a lot of people, they don't believe in themselves. So what I do is I make them believe in themselves. I believe in them more than they believe in themselves. Because I said I didn't have it perfect. Like no one believed in me. It probably served me well, because I probably had that fight in me that most people won't. If you tell someone you can't do it, they'll probably believe it. So what I do with my team, I just instill belief that they don't have. I go, man, I got you. I go, if you make a mistake, as long as you know when you've made that mistake, what you're going to do next. Okay, because when I built this gym, I go, nothing went right. Nothing. I just knew what the next step was. Right? Did I like it? No. I just knew how fast I could act. And I take action like immediately when something doesn't work out, because I've got to get it fixed that day. Even if a machine's broken down, you'll see me. I go nuts because I've got to get it done, because that's what I've built in myself. So empowering the team to be able to do that. And because I've done everything in the fitness industry, it's easy for me to coach them. I'm not the guy, the CEO that's the outsider that hasn't done the work. I competed as a bodybuilder. I played rugby league. At the age of 21, I've judged in bodybuilding comps when I was really young. Like I threw myself in everywhere in the industry. I've been going to the Olympia for the last 20 years. I've got great mates in the States. So I built a huge network because I was in the gym training. Like that was my first passion, was bodybuilding. So I walk the walk, but I also understand that most people don't believe in themselves. Like I see it so often.
Where did your self-belief come from?
It was like, I love my mum, but I used to have arguments with her in year 11 and 12, right? Yes. And I used to think that she didn't like me. And my whole thing, and I people shouldn't do this. Michael Jordan done it really well though. So if you bumped him, you're the guy I'm going against.
That's the story.
I actually use that. I still kind of use it, but not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. Sometimes I'm happier when someone doesn't believe in me. Like I actually don't like the pat on the back. I feel like you're going to make me too comfortable, right? Yeah. So for me, I actually have the same. I'm not comparing myself to Michael Jordan. The guy's a freak. Course, yeah. But that works for me better. Like even if, and it's as bad as it is, even if a loved one says something, I go, that's mad. 100%. And I don't say nothing to them. And it's not that like they're not on my side, but I would rather be the underdog. And that's why like when like you read about me, I almost go, mate, I'm just a normal kid, man. I was doing a talk at the Legion Club, and I had to talk to this audience, and they was talking about me, and I just like it's funny, you like people acknowledging you that you've done good work, but when there's a crowd, you just feel like, man, I'm just a kid, man. I'm just a normal kid.
100%. I think you mentioned Patrick Bet-David's name earlier. He's got a book, Choose Your Enemies Wisely, and there's the common theme in that book is sometimes you get your energy from the people who say you can't, and being able to prove them wrong. And it's not like, it can become toxic. It can become like, my only purpose is to prove someone wrong, and it becomes a bit toxic, especially if it's a trauma you're dealing with or something like that. But there is a healthy level of Michael Jordan making up some stories because someone's knocked him at the restaurant and going out and crushing him the next day.
He just made it all up.
He made it up. That was
In our minds, you know your mum and your dad are always on your side.
100%.
But when they say something to you, you take it to heart.
Yeah.
For me, it was like, well, I'm just going to show you.
Yeah.
And it was nothing against them.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of glad I had that. Because I think if I didn't have that, I don't know if I'd be doing what I'm doing.
And I don't think you'd have the impact in empowering other people and passing that forward. My my dad is someone I obviously look up to, and so I tell this story a lot to our staff, but we had some maths or some science tests in year 8, year 9, and my dad's Egyptian, so as an Egyptian, academics means a lot, right? So you had to come first. That was like the standard. You had to come first. That was it. And so I got home. I came third that day in some tests. I told my dad I came third, and I was proud of it. I came third out of a class of 30. That's not a bad effort. And he goes, "Who came first?" And I said, this girl in my class. And he goes, "All right, what does she eat?" And I'm like, "What do you mean, what does she eat? That's such a random question." And he goes, "What does she eat?" I said, "Probably rice, chicken, meat, whatever." He goes, "What does she drink?" And I said, "Water." Like, that's usually what people drink. And he goes, "All right, so if I give you rice and meat and I give you water, you reckon you can come first?"
Wow.
I was like, I guess so. So, the core message is no one else is different than you. You're like, if someone else can do it, you can do it. Go and back yourself and go after something. And so that's stuck with me. And it's such a big thing, even.
Because you got to look at the steps that they've taken.
That's it.
Study them.
Yeah.
And then if that person came first, do the same.
100%. So it was very impactful. Now, moving a little bit off, we'll go into some pre-prepared things that we've got.
Yeah.
We're going to agree and disagree. Okay.
Yeah.
We've got a health and fitness expert in front of us, so we thought we'd get you some one-liners and see if you agree with them. So the first one is: motivation matters more than discipline. Agree or disagree? You got your little paddle you can hold up, by the way, for the cameras. Motivation matters.
I disagree.
More than discipline. I would disagree as well, and I want to hear why. Why doesn't motivation matter?
Say I got up this morning and I was motivated, and that motivation started to disappear by 10 a.m. And then I'm on a diet or a nutrition program. Once I lose that motivation, what have I got? I need discipline now. And, I get up at 20 past 4 most mornings, and I don't want to get up at 20 past 4. Sometimes I want to stay in bed till 5. Like 5 a.m. is if I see 5:30 a.m., it's a sleep in.
It's crazy.
Which is, it doesn't matter where in the world I am. So I don't always want to get up at 20 past 4. I get up at 20 past 4 because it sets my day up. And that discipline is what works for me, and it gives me, more time throughout the day to get work done. It also allows me to do the thing that I don't want to do. And, when you look at business and you look at life, it's the mundane, repetitious work that gives you success, right? And success is not monetary all the time. It's in many different forms. So for me, having that discipline of doing the mundane things that I never used to like doing in high school, that's why it didn't work for me, is one of the most critical processes for me to get to where I am. And I'll keep doing it until I, even if it's 7 days a week, I'll outwork myself to get there. And it's something that it's probably one of the most important things for any individual to learn how to actually do the work, because you can back off at any time. But if I told you you've got to go 7 days a week, do you have the discipline to do it? Because I've done it before. I've done it many times. And that's what I say to people. Like, in those moments, I didn't have the motivation. It was the discipline that carried me through.
On that, what does your standard day look like? What is your morning routine? Let's go through your morning routine, because this is a big hype word in the media, and I hear a lot about it, especially in the business space. What does your morning routine look like? You get up at 4:20 and then what?
Get up at 4:20. Gym opens at 5 a.m. and it's packed. So I'll go in there, and you got to remember, when I walk into the gym, I'm actually walking into my office. So most people's day starts at 9. And what usually happens, someone might be broken, someone might not be working, like there's every day, like every day. And usually when I'm talking to guys, and then like members are talking to you, so part of that is the member seeing me. Part of that is acknowledging people. Part of that is acknowledging your instructors, your team. You know, the marketing team gets in at 7 a.m. I have a quick chat to them. Then I'll have my sales meetings. Then I'll have my meetings with the core team about what's happening in the business. And then usually I'll look at, you know, some of the projects that we're doing throughout the whole day. And then I'll start planning what, each point of the week looks like. And, you know, obviously because I'm running a few different businesses, I look at how can I structure each part better, right? And lately, just recently, we've been fixing up all the little holes that are becoming too admin heavy. So, you know, yesterday when they were fixing up a part of, you know, the counter where they had to do a big cleanup, if I wasn't there, it wasn't going to get done. It was a 2-hour job, and when I looked at it, you can do it. But when someone else looked at it, I made them believe that they could do it.
Yeah.
And the job got done. And that job, they said, we're going to, you know, on Wednesday, when can you do it, Mets? I know I'm going to Thailand next Thursday. I done it within 2 days. And they go, how did you do it that quick? Because the job had to be done. Like, there was no way around it. I said, I might as well get it done as fast as I can. So my day, as soon as I walk in the gym, and this is what, like yesterday when I left at about, I think I got there at 5 and left at about 2. And, you know, one of the guys goes, where are you going? I said, mate, I go, do you know when I leave here, the amount of phone calls I do and the work I do till about, sometimes it's 7, 10, whatever. And, you know, when I walk into the gym, like my presence helps a lot of people and the team. So there's a lot of pressure on me to spend more time just to be around them and to make them feel a certain way. And most of the time that feeling is belief. So each team is working on a different project. So I'll go from the marketing to sales to, you know, anything that has to do with any equipment that has to be fixed to, you know, right now we're doing a Pilates room to see what those people are doing in those areas. So it moves from each department and it might circle back around to a department that may need me. And then, like, obviously we've got Black Friday sales and our birthday weekend. So they, you know, sometimes they need me to bring influencers in to do photo shoots. So I'll make the phone call. I go, can you make it at this time? So you're assisting each department.
100%.
You know, so, and that's the hardest thing sometimes, because as soon as you walk in, it's 5 a.m. Like most offices, they start at 8 or 9.
That's
My
right,
day starts at 5, man.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I'll note in there, I didn't hear I wake up at 4:20 and then I go do a day spa routine and then I do cold plunging and then saunas and whatnot. Get up, go, train, get stuck in.
Yeah. Look,
love to hear it. Yeah.
If you look at weight training, it's my number one therapy. Yeah? I usually do, like, I'll get in there, I'll see what's going on, I'll have my workout. Members see me training on the gym floor. They love it. They love it. There's 2 things the gym members love about me. Is we got Dyson, so our team has to vacuum. They love it when I vacuum, and they love it when I'm training, because I'm connecting with everyone.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, that one there, you don't know how much it's worth in gold. Like if you're going to a gym and you see the owner, how would you feel?
Oh, amazing!
And he's training there.
Abraham Lincoln, one of his Lincoln on Leadership, talks about circulating amongst the troops. There is nothing more impactful than the business owner doing the things with the staff, supporting the staff, interacting with the clients, interacting with the members. It's gold. Yeah. Most gyms that I see struggle, the business owner is so hands off, and they think it will just run, and that's why it's hard to open up 2nd, 3rd locations. Yeah. Because so building verticals actually makes so much more sense. I actually never thought about it that way. I think it's worth its weight in gold. Seeing the owner of the business backing themselves and being in there, because if you don't believe it as an owner, how's anyone supposed to, believe in it for you? So I think that's great. Next, agree or disagree. Supplements are essential for results. Agree or disagree?
Because I got my own supplement company.
I'll put you in
Look,
a spot.
you know what? Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I take my Inferno, my creatine, and my Electro Plus every single morning, everywhere in the world. And this is what I'll do. I'll give it this, yeah?
Yeah.
And why I say that is a supplement is a supplement, right? And when you look at life in itself, how much food do you actually need to perform? A lot of the things that my supplement's got, it's got nootropics, it's got essential amino acids, it's got no fillers. It actually gives me a lot of energy, gives me a lot of focus, and that's what I essentially work on. I go, what can give me energy? What can give me focus? What can give me the amino acids that my body eats? I don't eat much throughout the day. I just had a few pieces of fruit before I got here. That was it. So, you know, when people ask me, like, I'll give you an example. I got, you know, a GHK-CU, which is a peptide. It's a short-chain amino acid. And I never forget, I know what GHK-CU does, right? And when we got it formulated, I got my videographer to try it first because he had a bad nose. I said, man, let's try it on you and my nephew. And it fixed both of them up. And this year, my supplements got released this year, but when I was going to Europe, and I recommend this one to actually everyone that breathes.
Yeah.
And if you told me would I believe in it as much as I do right now, I would say not to the extent I believe it now. And it's almost, say there was 100 people that took it, it fixed up 100 people. Wow, which is ridiculous. And when I went to Europe, I had this elbow issue, and I got access to one of the best physios in the country. And he was working on it 3 days a week, and it'll cost you a lot of money if you were to see him. And for the 4 weeks, no results. And I said, you know what, I'm going to take the GHK-CU. I couldn't lift this left side. Like, I couldn't use the left side. I couldn't do any tricep extension. So I took it to Europe with me. I took it every day. And what I done, I said, let me test this on myself. And I actually pushed it to the limit of hurting it. And it would be so sore. It'd be inflamed the next day to get better. And I when I was overseas, I actually trained every day, which is ridiculous in itself. Like, that's what I love doing. I love routine. Doesn't matter where I am in the world. If I'm with the family, I love routine. And it helped me. It actually helped my injury throughout the whole test for the 5 weeks. And, you know, I can't, and why I say this, like, people come to me. I had a mate who's got a torn meniscus. He's 50 years old, couldn't work for more than 500 meters. He goes, Metz, is this going to help me? He goes, don't bullshit to me, bro, because I've known you all my life. I said, what you have, I go, listen, what choice do you have, right? I go, worst case scenario, you're going to know it's not going to work. Yeah? And you're going to go, you know what, Metz, this is going to fix the meniscus up. Anyway, 2 weeks later, he rings me and goes, bro, I've just been walking 15,000 steps. I couldn't walk for more than 500 meters. No way. Comes back and says to me, I need one for my mum, my gardener, and 2 other people. Ring him 2 weeks later. I go, Shane, how's it going, bro? He goes, Dr. Metz. He goes, we fixed everyone.
No way.
Now, if you told me, like, can a supplement do that? I would say you're crazy and out of your mind.
Yeah.
But when you do the research on GHK-CU, and then people go, the injectable one is better, right? Because it's a short-chain amino acid. And I go, mate, I don't know if you've taken the tablets because it's working on everyone. And I still take it as an insurance policy.
There you go.
And, you know, the guy that formulates it said, you know, you should probably have 3 rounds of it a year. I don't have it every day, but I have it so I never have a problem. No back issues. No, I used to get chronic tendonitis, chronic. And now I have no issues. Like, I'm turning 49 in a couple of weeks. And, you know, I can match it with the younger people. But if I didn't do all these modalities, there's, you know, I couldn't do it. You know, and that's why I think there's it's made me think completely differently about supplements. Even in my early days when I was competing, I was taking a lot of supplements. But, you know, when you look at the short chain amino acids, which are peptides, and, you know, I love my Inferno. My Electro Plus got, you know, German collagen. It's got essential amino acids. It's got electrolytes. It's got carnitine. It's got glutamine. It tastes unbelievable. My creatine's German Crea Pure. And I can't tell you, like, you know, my focus and my clarity, how good it is every single day. And I don't think if it was for my supplements, I could be I could be this energized every single day.
Speaking of your energy, you use a bit of energy. You're 49, but if you're watching this, there's no chance you'd be guessing that. Where does that, like, is it obviously somewhere in your health journey is giving you that energy? Supplements are one part, absolutely. What else do you do to stay young and preserve that energy? Because that's so important in business.
You got to do some form of activity. Look, we're running a challenge right now, and everyone's getting great results. But you know, in this world of fitness, right? In this world, right? And if you look at fitness in itself, so I studied it all the way back to the 50s, 60s, 70s, and I was like a historian of bodybuilding. Everything came from bodybuilding. It was weights was first, right? Everything's going back to weights being number one. You got all these modalities, and I give this analogy to people. They go, you got spin classes, you got Pilates, you got yoga, you got almost every class that you can have on a timetable. You got HIIT classes, you got pump classes. About to have reformer Pilates, but I said, okay, if you go into a store, right, do they just have steak? Okay, imagine you just went to one place and go, maybe we just got steak. Okay, well, they got no garnish. They're going to have something. They have dessert. They've got to have stuff.
Work with me.
So if you look at my gym, I reckon we've got one of the best, weight training gyms. And we've got, Panada and New Tech. I went to South Korea. I went to the manufacturing plant in New Tech. We've got some of the best pieces money can buy, right? And I buy, to be honest, me and my brother buy everything for us. We're the first guys to get the Symbio Life Fitness cardio in this country. We're one of 8 gyms only in the world to have it. So I travel all around the world to find the best. But the reality is, you only need to do weights. That's the reality of it all. And I've always loved doing weights, and it's the number one modality in terms of grip strength, bone density, muscle. As we age, we lose muscle. As we age, we're going to lose our testosterone. So I make sure, for the most part, that everything that I eat is whole foods. Everything that I eat serves me for my training. And also, when people see me, they go, like, this guy's a picture of health. So people tend to listen to you more as well. And, when people look at me, they go, you just own a gym. No, I own businesses. I'm a family man. I'm married. I've got kids. This is part of this journey. And if I can come and be at my best every single day, and I look at myself from the week before and I go, how can I beat the Mets from the week before? Even though I got so much on, if I don't look after my health, how can I perform and be focused on every deal that comes my way? How is it going to work? How is it going to work with the verticals? What does the marketing team look like? What does the sales team look like? How can I do all that? And for me, the morning routine, the discipline, the food, the supplements, I need that. And when people go, I don't take supplements, I go, that's fine. I go, how's it all serving you? That's why I said that. When you said agree or disagree, I'll give it in the middle, because some people shouldn't take it if they don't want it. So I'm not going to force it down. This is my experience.
100%. And when you train, I've got here, so agree or disagree, the industry cares more about looks than it does about health. What do you think of that?
That's a good one. Look, me, I want to present myself the best, right? So if you ask me, I loved bodybuilding. And what is bodybuilding? It's guys in bloody Speedos, essentially, posing trunks, that are down to almost nothing. So the whole thing is a visual. I was a bodybuilding judge. You're judging what the physique looks like. You're judging the whole look. I don't know if it's fair enough to ask me, but that's the world I came from. And I watched as a kid. I remember watching the Mr. Olympia in 1984 on Wide Worlds of Sports with my brother. Crazy. In 1984, I was 8 years old. I fell in love with it. I remember Lee Haney. I remember, Muhammad Makawi. I remember the guys that were in the top 6, as an 8-year-old. And as an 8-year-old, I'm judging the body.
It's crazy.
So I don't think I'm the best person to answer that. When people walk in my gym, I don't care what you look like. I don't care where your entry level is. I treat you the way you deserve to be treated. I believe we shouldn't treat people on how they look. We should treat people on, I want to make you believe that, I'll go back to what I do with my team. I'm going to make you believe you're going to do something for yourself that no one ever believed in you. I'm going to help you do that. So when you walk into my gym and you go, Mets, I can't do it, I go, no, man, we're going to do this together. So, like I had 2 guys in my class today, and terrific guys. And one's 63 years old, is a Greek machine, man. And he had the MyZone on and he was going at 90%. I go, Steve, think about it, bro. I go, you're flogging everyone, man. I go, like, you inspire so many people. And he goes, mate, I love it. My mates are out. You know, he's an electrician, successful guy. Because my mates are out drinking and doing all this, and we're here, we're having a mad session, we're talking to each other, now we're having a coffee. And so before he came to the gym, he wasn't doing those types of classes. But now he feels better. He knows he can do more, and he's competing against the 20-year-olds, man. Like, he's 63.
Mad.
So, you know, when you walk through those doors, it doesn't matter what level you're at. We can help you. And that's why I created all those sub-brands that are verticals, because I know they can help all different types of people.
100%. No, that's awesome. It goes on to our next one. So trainers should coach mindset just as much as they should coach movement. Do you agree or disagree?
Look, I agree with that.
Yeah.
And what exactly what I'll go back to is most people don't believe in themselves. Do you know what I mean? So when they walk through those doors, it's like, man, I don't know what to do. What are you going to do for me? Help me. And the first part is you can give them a plan, but can you give them belief? So you can give anyone a plan. Okay, you just take that, man, and all the whole plan's there. Somebody go, fuck, I can't do that. So then it comes down to, can you make that person believe they can get in shape, they can lose the body fat they want to lose, they can get into shape on the vacation they want to go to, they can become, you know, this person they never believed they can become. So that's a big part of a coach, creating the mindset part as much as the training.
Love to hear that, bro. All right, we'll do a few deep dives, and we'll ask you some more questions about your journey and whatnot. Speaking on a personal level, you just mentioned earlier you don't eat much during the day, just a bit of fruit. What diet do you adhere to? What do you do to
look? I eat mostly whole foods, protein. I love having fruit. I mean, I don't go overboard, but so you know, it'll consist of eggs, chicken, red meat, fish, and then when I look at carb sources, I'll have, you know, sometimes I'll have steamed rice, potatoes, but I love having fruit. So that works for me perfectly. And the reason I say fruit is because I look at it like this. I go, imagine I was busy. Like, I'll give you an example. Say you came to the gym. I can't do any prep. I go, wait a second. If I had to give you fruit, and I said to you, you know, have some fish or tuna, and bro, you can get eggs anywhere. You can have an egg white omelette, or not an egg white omelette, an egg omelette with some salmon and veggies. Could you do that? And then the person goes, you know what? You've just made prep easy for me. So I want my prep to be super simple, that I don't have an excuse not to eat that way. So I create it in a way that if someone comes to me, man, I can't afford to do prep, I go, well, I don't do prep. I mean, my wife cooks for me, obviously, once a day when I go for dinner. But she cuts up some fruit and she hammers me about it. She goes, who cuts your fruit up like this? So I've got to be careful there.
That's the best.
But I make it super simple. And it doesn't matter where I am in the world, I can do that diet anywhere. So I got no excuse. So I created it in a way that it's simple. Again, it goes back to discipline. I could do this anywhere in the world. I don't have a reason not to stay in shape.
100%. I think something you just mentioned there as well is that it's simple and you'll stick to what is simple. I'm someone who, being organised, staying on schedule, doing the things comes a bit more difficult to me. I want to do this, shiny objects, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's 100-mile things running on. And so the best thing that I was able to find that helped narrow down my focus and just get so much more production out of me was just systems, processes, schedules, routines. I'll use a stupid example. I bought Asics Kayanos about 6 months ago. I had never, up until this point, bought a pair of shoes, like proper runners, that weren't on discount or weren't on sale or whatever. I didn't grow up with much. So I splurged and bought some Asics Kayanos for like $300. I've decided now that's all I'm ever buying. I'm just going to buy Asics Kayanos. I'm going to buy them in different colours, and I have forever solved the shoe thing, and I'm never going to look at shoes because I don't have time to sit around looking at which shoes I'm going to buy and whatever. They're the shoes I'm buying for the rest of my life, and that's it. Bro, sometimes you just need that routine to, and similar to you, I get frustrated now when things aren't, we said we were going to do this. Why are we altering? Why are we changing? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? This is what we said we were going to do. This is the structure. This is what we're doing. It irks me sometimes when it changes, but
well, the same thing. I now buy those Swiss shoes on.
That's it.
I've gone from that many shoes and I go, mate, this is the one now.
That's it.
It's funny you say that.
Yeah, 100%. Because otherwise, the mental energy, I have to start looking into every detail of and if I look into something, it has to be detailed. I have to know everything about everything and whatnot. So, and the next part is I just now pay. You need to pay for the solution. Is sometimes what it is. I love fishing, right? And so I'm always trying to think about what rod, what reel, what combo, what line, where do I go, whatever. Yeah. Sometimes, honestly, I'll just go, here's the budget, just tell me what to get. What am I supposed to? You know, when I go into restaurants now, I've decided this is what I'm going to do. This is my system for restaurants. Yeah. I hope it helps for anyone listening, for yourself.
Definitely helps me.
That's it. You walk in, what are you known for? What's the thing I'm supposed to order here?
Yeah.
Give me that. I don't want to dick around with the menu and think your restaurant was crap because I got the wrong thing that I wasn't supposed to get. Yeah. Just what are you known for? What's the thing I'm supposed to get here? Give me that. Let's keep it moving.
It is hard, isn't it? Going to a restaurant. My mind's easy.
Yeah.
Protein.
That's it.
Veggies. Carbs.
That's it.
That's all I need.
100%. All right. Speaking of habits, you have interviewed some mad, pretty cool people. You've also interviewed some controversial people. Yeah. You've had a lot of the footy boys, Braith and Astar, seen Adam Fanua Blake on there. One of your earlier ones you mentioned, I can't remember his name, but Keith Galloway. You've had some stories, but someone interesting as well is Charlie Teo that you've interviewed. Yeah. So these guys are from different spheres and different domains, but they're all pretty successful in what they do. Yeah. What's the common theme you find with successful people? What are the habits? What are the ideologies? What are the things you've gotten out of all these podcasts you've run?
They have this unwavering discipline, focus to try and become the best. Almost every single one they have that mindset. When some of them more than others, though. Some of them more than others, and you can kind of see the evolution of their career. You know, probably a few being in mind. I mean, Tyron Smith's been unbelievable. You know, I'm lucky enough that he's one of my good mates. I was having, coffee with him. We talk every week, and we could be across the world. He was in Italy. We talk a lot. So his transition and his mindset is quite incredible. And then there's some that, look, sometimes you'll do an interview and they're at different points in their life. Let's just say that. And then, probably the most controversial one was, it's funny, like we were talking off camera about Charlie Teo. So the only thing I knew about Charlie Teo, and this is a true story, we had a business partner early on, and he was one of my brother's best mates, Danny. His wife was going to die 20 years ago. Yeah, 20 years ago. And I'll never forget, he came to the gym, and he was talking to my brother. And so every doctor said that she's not going to survive. This is how I knew about Charlie Teo 20 years ago before. I didn't know who Charlie Teo was. His kids were like maybe 2 or 3 years old. So his wife was like, no one wanted to operate, no doctor. And this is a true story from Charlie Teo and my mate Danny. Charlie Teo said, you're actually going to, like, part of your face, you're not going to have the feeling, right? When you go to an operation, when you got a knee problem or any operation, you're almost signing off that you could not come out. Like that's not even your brain.
Yeah.
But that's the story I knew. So you can't find Charlie Teo on social media and that. So I didn't even know about his story. What happened was my daughter's boyfriend and Charlie Teo's daughter, they go with the same brothers. And he said, Metz, would you like to interview Charlie Teo? And what I remember him, he saved my mate's wife's life. That's what I remember. So I said, fuck, mate, interesting character. And you know what, man, like, it's hard, you know, like, it's hard to, like, I can understand you because I know how your brain's, like, you're in business and, you know, we're just talking about your story. You left, you started this. I can understand that brain. But most people won't understand it. And so, you know, if you listen to the interview, I don't know if I said it on the interview or off camera, you know, there was a day a week where he done like 7, 10-hour or 12-hour surgeries. You know, he doesn't drink coffee or alcohol, and he's got to stay in this position. I go, how the hell? And then, like, if you look at it, so anyone in that position, the most operations anyone close to him has done in the entirety of their career is 400. He's done 11,000. So when I was hearing those numbers,
different level.
It was a different level. So then you go to another level, right? You go, okay, if say he's in genius level, right? Because 11th, like it's a country mile, right? And then you go, and then I put up a video the other day, and he says it on the podcast. His dad used to beat him up. He was abusive, and his mum was the matriarch. He was a saving grace. So then and he says this as well. You're Chinese coming up, at Scots, and he's 67 now. So imagine what he was getting treated like from the other kids. So getting bullied, beat up, and all that kind of stuff. And then now you're this guy that's so good and helps so many lives. When you're doing that type of surgery, like if I was going in for that, I'd probably have to say, listen, this could be it. Even though he might be doing the surgery, right? Like you have to almost say your final goodbyes, but you got to be positive. Yeah. Because there's a great chance that it ain't going to work out. Yeah. And when I started to look at the metrics, and I don't make any comments on anyone's things, right? Yeah. But this is just my opinion, right? I had dinner with him. I spoke to him. I speak to him a little bit here and there, but I understood his story. So in my head, I go, well, if you're a genius of that caliber, and you're that good, and this is what happened to you in life, and you love your job, you have to lose something. And there's been a lot of nasty things that go on there. And some of those messages are messages on messages on messages. And it's been every day I'll get a message.
Really?
For 6 months, yeah. Really? Yeah, sometimes 5, sometimes 10. Different posts. I've done different posts on him. Yeah. And I rang him last week and it was funny. I just said, mate, how you going? I'm in touch base with you for a long time. It's crazy. But he's just a larrikin. He's just like us. That's what I like about Charlie. Yeah. I think he's misunderstood. I think we're misunderstood.
100%.
You know what I mean? So when you look at it, and when you're doing your podcast, you're just learning about someone. Really, you're just interested. You're just learning about someone. And when I sit down with all these different ones, I'm just learning something. Whether they resonate with people or not, I can't dictate that.
Who else has been it's hard to pick, but who else have you interviewed? You think that's a lot to know about Charlie Taylor and see how he operates. That's crazy. Who else would you think they're also just on another level or another caliber? Or
I think Tyron Smith's mentalities, when you know him as well as I do, and when you know about a rugby league player, and their bodies are broken, and this guy trains like a beast, man, and he's got a family. He's a great leader. Just his mentality, and that's why I get along really well with him. And I can't even remember all of them, right? But even Braith was really, really good. And sometimes when I'm there's 80 episodes, right? And so you're trying to remember all these guys. And to be honest, if I look at I walk out of an episode and I get inspired by them, just by a story. And I walk away and I go, fuck, I could be better at this. I could be better at that. I could be 1% better at that. But there was another gentleman, I forget, mate. I shouldn't forget his name. But his story was pretty cool, man. And he actually turned the interview around on me. And I started crying because we was talking about my dad. Right. And then he goes, what about you, Mets? But this guy is such a good speaker. He's done a few, and it was Luke, and I took a lot away from him, and it's funny because you kind of get a connection with him, and I should call him, right? It's the right thing to do because, like, even when I called him afterwards, there was a great connection with him. And then, like, there was a girl, Myth, who I met through Tyron Smith, and even her story, like, unbelievable skier, done her knee 4 times, and still trying to make a comeback. Like, I go, and it was funny. I got introduced to Myth from Tyron Smith, and he said, "Bro, can this girl be an ambassador? She'll do content for you and all that kind of stuff." We were in Thailand, and I didn't even acknowledge Tyron. We were training hard. I go, "Man, wrong time."
Yeah.
So we're getting on the airplane. He goes, "Bro, I asked you a question," and this is how he talks to me. I go, "Bro, just send her in, man."
Yeah.
She's come in, and I was never going to interview her. But Sam goes, "Mets, I got Myth." I go, "Fuck Myth." Like, then I interviewed her, and I was freaked out. I go, like, I think Myth's maybe about 22, 23. 4 knee recos, and still she's still trying to make a comeback. And I was blown away. I go, how? Like, after 4, like, the chances are you probably won't. And that was inspiring. I go, mate, like, you're 20, 22, 23. I go, like, so different ones for different reasons. And but I just feel like, and you probably know yourself, sometimes it's not about how many people it reaches, it's about what you take out of it. Some of the best ones didn't have the biggest reach.
100%.
You know what I mean? But I took more out of it.
Yeah.
And they get to walk through my gym and they get blown away. They go, "Fuck, man, I thought you just do podcasts. Do you run this?" So you have, and that's good as well. So there's so many different benefits. Like, I walked into this office, I go, "Fuck, bro, these aren't just normal accountants."
Yeah. And to be honest, some of the best conversations happen off podcasts as well.
Yeah.
And we always say, like, the best podcasts are the ones where we're talking, there's juice, there's energy in the room, and you're just getting so much value out of, and you're providing value, and that's the best part. When 2 people get into a room and want to provide value to each other, you can't go wrong. You're always going to have a phenomenal conversation that's going to impact both your life and the listeners. Speaking of things that have impacted your life, have you read any books that you'd recommend to any business owner? You're very big on personal development. What books or what resources would you recommend to people?
The one book that I went deep on was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Classic. That was the first one I read, right? I'm trying to think, like, I'm turning 49. I must have just been about 31, 32. Great thing about that book, like, everything it says is true, yeah? But what I took out of that book was every time I tried to execute on all those things, I failed. The reason I failed, because you can read that book and you'll get a new meaning all the time. The only reason I failed was because I used to tell people what I was going to do, right? Which you can, but they go, "No, you can't." And that would affect me. Now, if I say to people I'm doing these crazy things, they actually believe me. And nothing affects me even if they don't believe me. One of the things, it says in the book, sometimes you've got to do things where you're, flying under the radar, so you can't let anyone's thoughts affect your thoughts. And, they talk about auto-suggestion, about repetition, and they talk about the prophets as well. There's so many unbelievable lessons in that book. And you probably heard of Bob Proctor. So, and Bob Proctor said he read that book more than any other book. The repetition of every time he read that book. And, after that, I probably didn't read as much and probably watched a lot more content. But, I bought, Choose Your Enemies Wisely by Patrick. But I love his story as well. And I think a lot of the times, even when you become successful, we still, like, we've got tall poppy syndrome in the country, so we still get put in a box. And I think the tall poppy syndrome, as much as we don't want it to exist, unfortunately, it's almost ingrained in all of us, regardless of what we think, and probably me as well, right? You go to America and it's like, they might say, you can say anything about America, they're shit talkers and this and that, whatever it is, right? But they embrace entrepreneurship. They embrace the person that's down 10 times. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. They embrace the comeback. I think in this country, and like we were talking off camera, you kind of said to me, what are you doing here in this country? And it's funny, sometimes in my mind, as I'm questioning that, I go, like, I still need to impact the people I am. There's people in my business that need me. There's people in my family that needs me. And so I'm trying to do something that is quite hard to do and help more people. And technology is allowing me to do that. It's giving me the ability to do that. And sometimes, Jacob, people ask me, like, how are you going to do it? I go, man, I have a feeling, right? I go, you see things this way. I go, but I actually don't see it that way in my head. Okay, and it's not wrong how you see it. You're just seeing more obstacles than me. Those obstacles are there. I just don't see them. Right? I go, and I get it. I totally get it. I go, and I'm not putting you down or saying anything, but I just don't see it that way. And so I don't think our country embraces that. I don't think even, when you look at our government and the tax and everything towards that where we create the jobs for the people. We help more people, we employ more people, we educate people, we empower people, and people are coming into my business, walking away, feeling better about their lives, and they're getting jobs elsewhere and skills that they would have never gotten and life skills they would have never gotten, but we don't get rewarded for that. 100%. We don't, unfortunately.
We don't incentivize business ownership like it should be incentivized. Yeah. Business ownership, you have to, like, I'm sure you understand, is that there's an 80% failure rate. Like, you need to take a huge amount of risk to go and start and create a business out of nothing, employ, hire, which is phenomenal for the society. We have a vision at Latitude Accountants, and that is, we believe that the small business owner is the hero of our community. Why are they the hero? Because they're the ones who sacrifice their own careers to create careers for others. Our vision is to help 1,500 heroes make their dreams reality. We've taken away that number because, like you, we want to help as many people as possible. Yeah. And ultimately, the more we can do to elevate our business owners, to get them to dream even bigger than what they're currently dreaming, and incentivize them to stay in the country and use that capital in this country, the better we'll be. But yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate where for some reason we have that tall poppy syndrome of, if they get too big, we got to whack them down. Yeah. We'll hit them with a 47% tax rate, and that's your reward for employing and growing and investing in the country, which shouldn't be the case, but it is what it is to some degree as well. Final questions, and then we'll wrap up. Yeah. What's next for Mets, man? We talked off camera a little bit about some things you've got in the pipeline. What are some things that people can look forward to that Mets has got cooking?
Yeah. Look, I always go, whatever I do next, it's what's the lowest hanging fruit that's going to bring the biggest ROI, right? So there's a couple of things that on the way here, I was on the phone talking about, like, I try and fill every gap, Jacob. It's a bit insane. I try, like, I'm walking here, I'm driving here, and I'm going, okay, if I have these two conversations, put these people in this group, how can I facilitate that? When does the next meeting? I'm going away next Thursday. How much do I have to get done? So I was just having those quick conversations about, like, timelines of how fast I can finish this job, this person can finish this job, this person can finish this job. And so it's a bit chaotic, to be honest, but when you look at the lowest hanging fruit, you go, okay. And what I try and do is, okay, would I use that product? Like, would I use it? And I have been using some of these products, and some of them are, and I've been using it on my team. They're for mental focus, mental clarity. I can't say exactly what it is, but it helps with that, and I've been able to help different people in my office. There's a couple of things that are sort of, well, I already do compression, so I can tell you that. Like, we're doing Strive Compressions, which is a company that I own, and we're about to do a big order, and I'm trying to create a plan in the next few days to work with influencers and key sports people on that one. So I'm trying to finish that before I go away on Thursday. Like, it's very close. And then, there was things in China. So when I was in China a couple of weeks ago, when you guys messaged me, what we used to do when we used to go to the Canton Fair, I was with Matt, who I've been fortunate enough to meet just recently. We we're training every morning at 5:30. We're having breakfast, and I said, Matt, man, this is a long day. There's a lot to work. There's a lot of sensors that we're picking up here. But I got one of the best massage chairs. Let's do the massage chairs first. Let's do the hyperbaric chamber. Anyway, we started feeling unbelievably well. And, there's a couple of things I'm doing in that area. Obviously, I got the Substance brand. And then obviously I'm building our own app that's going to be, it's like a super app that will almost cover every modality that an individual does. How I want it is that you can actually talk into it, and so you don't have to record everything, and it can understand you. I believe there's people doing it. I don't know if they'll do it to the extent I'm going to do it, because it's going to hit every different community, and then understand, like, how you said mindset, it's going to understand your persona. I want it to understand your persona. But in understanding your persona, I also wanted to challenge you at some point when I can create the right habits. So it's a bit complicated, but there's going to be, it's going to keep evolving. And when people ask me, how did I come up with all this? When you own a gym for 27 years, all you hear is everyone's problems. Yeah. And that used to irritate me. And hence why I created a lot of these products around that. Because if you come to me, I go, Jacob, we got this for you. Yep, we got this for you, mate. We got this for this person. And it used to irritate me that I couldn't help them with all that.
100%. So helping people in as many ways as possible and innovating the experience. 100%. No, it's awesome. Before we wrap up, final question. I'm a person who either wants to get into training or hasn't trained or wants to start my health journey, but I've got a bunch of excuses. I'll rattle off a couple of excuses for you. I don't have time, Mets, to train. Fitness is too expensive. I don't know what I'm doing. My genetics are bad. I've trained before and nothing worked. Do any of those excuses stack up?
You know what's funny? Because I love sales.
Yeah.
So what they done was they asked those questions with different personas of leading questions thereafter that. And so what I usually do is I go, I agree with you, mate, I don't have time either. So with time, I go, do you have an hour and a half a week? Right? And usually I bring them on such a low level of resistance, and that resistance is much better than what they're doing right now. So just that resistance is going to help them, 30, 40% more in their whole week. And in 168 hours, it's only an hour 30. So essentially, when you come to my gym, those are the questions I answer because I know all those personas. And those personas are the most normal personas there are. If you look at, I think it's about only 15% of people in this country train. It's not a big number. It's not massive.
Crazy. I thought it would be way higher. Yeah.
It's not. Yeah. So I had to think of all the questions, the guy that doesn't even want to go there. So you got to go, what's the lowest level of entry? And I'm even coming up with things that are going to be even lower level than that. So that's why I don't innovate with meds. As soon as you come in the gym, I'm actually the guy on the video on every machine in there. I've videoed me on the app. So you not only get to come in and I get you on the app to suit your goals, but you get to watch the CEO. Right?
That's mad.
And that's probably that wasn't easy to do, but for me it matters that you go, fuck man, that's him. Fuck, because we've got screens where I'm on the podcast. So everyone gets to know who I am. And that's why on the new website, it's going to have an AI component on there. Ask Matt's anything. So we want to be able to engage more than anyone in our business. And I believe if you can over deliver, you can beat anyone.
Absolutely. And that's the best businesses are giving you more than what you're paying for. Yeah. And because that's the value exchange, right? Yeah. We're not only giving you what you pay for, we're giving you more. How could you lose out? How could you not be subscribed to that place? All right, final question we got from our prior guest who was in that we're going to ask you, and then we're going to ask you to leave a question for the next guest. So the question, I think Peter was the gentleman's name. So if you could change one thing in your life, what would it be?
If I could change one thing in my life, look, I think the number one thing that we look for is time, yeah? It's the most valuable commodity there is. And when we were talking off camera before, Like if I could, and my brain's wired to create experiences and freedoms for my family. So the thing I tackle with the hardest is time, because you're trying to create this other experience. And in that time, you're trying to stay present here as well. And that's the one thing I struggle with. If I could give the one advice to people is get as prepared as you can, and find time for those that are closest to you, and try and switch off better than me.
Love to hear it. And what's a question you want to leave for the next guest?
That's a good question.
Yeah. You ask questions for part of a living.
Yeah. I guess that was a good question there too. What's the one advice that it would give to someone that wanted to reach a goal, right? Like what is it? Like, because everyone asks me, how do I reach that goal? How do I get there? All the time. So what's the one advice they would give for someone to reach a goal or a target?
Excellent. All right, I'd love to hear it. Thank you so much for coming on. We have gotten so much value out of that, and I hope our listeners have too. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, and hopefully we'll continue this conversation in the future. Yeah. Thanks, bro.
Thanks, Alfie.